What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a bunch of great topics to go over, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off with the much anticipated Final Fantasy IX Remake. Now, this game has been through all sorts of twists and turns since we first learned about it at the NVIDIA GeForce leak a few years ago. Some people even questioning if it's even real or not, but then the issue was that a bunch of other games that were also on the same leak were revealed and released. Even Final Fantasy Tactics, for example, which has released to incredible reviews and good sales so far across the Nintendo Switch 1 and Switch 2 and PlayStation. So there's definitely a lot of anticipation for the Final Fantasy IX Remake, especially since it's not going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake and split up into a bunch of different things. Apparently, it was just going to be an actual big remake of the original Final Fantasy IX. But however, Mr. Nate the Hate, who has been on the forefront of saying that this game is indeed real, was asked about it recently on Twitter, and here is the question and answer. Oscar says, "Hey, Nate the Hate 2, do you have news about Final Fantasy IX Remake? Is canceled or is it still in Square Enix's plans?" Nate the Hate responds with, "Have no new information to share. For now, I'd assume the game is on ice, and the unknown is whether Square Enix will return to it or not." So this is definitely an unfortunate update if it is on ice or what's going on with it. But here's what I'll say with this, and I'll kind of share when it comes to my own thought process when it comes to this game. I think that Final Fantasy IX Remake is a title that they're definitely going to be looking at, especially in the transition from Square Enix's old president to the new president. The thing about it is that Final Fantasy IX Remake started with the old regime in terms of how they were thinking overall. And within that time period, they've gotten a new president. They had a complete business overthrow, like a complete business change, where they said, we are going to do away with a lot of our old practices and we are going to start up new, focusing on what we need to. Now, Final Fantasy obviously is in that category. It's in that, I would say, wave of new stuff, focusing on the franchises that do best for them. Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, or HD 2D. These are the type of franchises that do well, and you've seen that Square Enix is doing less of the random new IPs and weird type of Western games and stuff like that, and buckling down more on what is good for them. But I do think that whatever this game was at the time period when they were actually doing this transition, it might have hit a snag when it comes down to it. When it comes to the budget, when it comes to what they want to actually do with the game, when it comes to the direction or the focus, there might have been something to where they said, hey, we need to reevaluate this. We need to shuffle team members, or essentially we're going to be doing something else, or we're going to go in a different direction. And I think maybe that's the reason why it's been so long since we've seen it. I think that Dragon Quest 12 is also another game that you can say maybe had some of those same issues, but they're still kind of moving along with that game, and they've publicly said as much. But they haven't even acknowledged yet that Final Fantasy IX Remake is an actual thing. They've teased it through other forms of ways with Square Enix, but they haven't said anything yet. So that is going to be the really, I would say, interesting thing, is if they actually come out and say, okay, it is real, or we are working on it, or there's something. I think right now what they're focused on is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for new platforms. That is the next big Final Fantasy experience. They wanted to get Final Fantasy Tactics out. They got that out. They got a good launch with that. It's selling well on the Nintendo Switch and other platforms. So I think that they want to move on to Intergrade and kind of reincorporate that, because remember, guys, Final Fantasy used to be one of the quintessential RPG franchises when it comes to sales and relevance. That has fallen off over the course of the last number of years, and they're trying to undo that with multi-platform releases, re-releasing some of the older games and bringing it back. So I think that they're going to start with that core foundation of FF7 Remake. It looks great on the Nintendo Switch 2, looks great on Xbox, and then they are going to move on to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. They're going to talk about that. And I think that they're planning their next moves with the next major Final Fantasy game. So Final Fantasy 17, they probably still have to get Final Fantasy 16 out on the Nintendo Switch 2. So they're probably thinking, hey, we need to get all of this in order as well before we really reveal Final Fantasy 9 Remake. But I still think that it's coming at some point. Until it doesn't, I still think that it'll be here, but we just have to kind of wait and see how it all plays out. Because Final Fantasy 9 Remake was actually one of my 10 out of 10 RPGs. I did it in a video a while back. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to Final Fantasy 9 Remake? Do you still feel that it's real? Do you think that they're going to cancel it? You think that they're going to announce it maybe next year? I'm thinking maybe at a Nintendo Direct next year they talk about it, or at a PlayStation State of Play, but we'll have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos as soon as they drop. Plus, you're going to want to subscribe because we have a bunch of game giveaways, from Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment to Pokemon Legends ZA, Metroid Prime 4, Kirby Air Riders coming up, so you're not going to want to miss the announcements for that. So hit that subscribe button. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here. We're going to discuss a brand new Dragon Ball game project that's set to be announced in January 2026. So Bandai Namco will reveal a brand new Dragon Ball game project at Dragon Ball Genki Damaratsu, which will take place on January 25th, 2026 at the Makuhari Messe in Chiba, Japan. The company teased. Now, the game project will be announced during the Genkida Stage Plus New Game Super Announcement Stage event on January 25th, 2026 at 11 JST. Now, there is a full lineup of different cool announcements and stuff that's going to be happening with a timeline. I will have that posted for you guys right here. And I think that whatever this new Dragon Ball game announcement is, obviously it's going to be a big announcement since they are revealing that they are going to be announcing something. So they clearly want people to tune in because it is months before this. We're in October. It's going to be in January, so they want you to tune in, or they want you to know that there's something coming. Now, they did recently reveal that Dragon Ball FighterZ is going to be getting updates, and it's going to still continue, and they're going to have new characters, and they're still continuing that, and that has been by far their most successful in terms of consistency fighting game, with Dragon Ball FighterZ, best rated and most successful consistency. Some people want some type of sequel to that. Others want Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. And I think that in terms of outside of that game with Dragon Ball FighterZ, Xenoverse has been incredibly consistent and has sold really well. People really resonate with the Xenoverse games. I particularly don't resonate with pretty much any Dragon Ball Z game, but that's okay. Dragon Ball Z has been a huge part of my life decades ago. I remember first watching Dragon Ball Z and saying, I'm gonna like this forever. And I still love Dragon Ball Z. I love the Dragon Ball Daima anime. That was fantastic. It was so good. So I'm gonna be interested in seeing what they do. I've just played so many Dragon Ball Z games in my life at this point that I'm kind of just burnt out. Dragon Ball FighterZ was cool and Xenoverse is cool. There's definitely some good stuff. Dragon Ball Kakarot, not bad at all. So maybe it's a sequel to Dragon Ball Kakarot. Maybe they kind of do something there. But whatever they decide to do, it's going to be publicized quite a bit, and you have fans of different sub-segments of Dragon Ball Z games kind of anticipating and guessing what they're going to do. But many people, I've seen some people say, I hope it's Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. I've seen a lot of people say, I hope it's Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. So there's definitely a lot to look forward to overall if you are a Dragon Ball Z fan. And I'm going to be covering this, of course, when they reveal what it's going to be. So what do you guys think about this new Dragon Ball game project set to be announced in January 2026? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another topic here. And that is going to be the new patent that shows off just how Nintendo DS could work on the Nintendo Switch NSO or do emulation with the Switch 2. So let's talk about this. So Nintendo does often register a lot of experimental patents and different things to protect their ideas, and if they ever do decide to act on it, they will have the groundwork done legally and as well schematically overall. And this one shows with the DS 3 different display options to choose from. One with a dual screen, the parent screen and child screen, 2 single screen mode with picture in picture, and 3 switch modes, switch between screens. You can see the patents all here as they're kind of laid out. Now, Nintendo has not revealed the Nintendo DS emulation or Nintendo DS NSO or games coming over yet at this point, but I think it's inevitable that they will reveal it because they had it on the Nintendo Wii U. I think it's just a matter of implementation. It's just a matter of what games you're going to be doing. It's just a matter of kind of perfecting it, because it's not one of those things that's just easy drag and drop and copy and paste, as we've seen with the GameCube emulation that has a little bit of input delay and latency, and GameCube was known for not having any of that. It's actually the fastest 6th generation system from button press to input to registered, and that's why GameCube games, and still to this day, people still love playing on the original GameCube hardware because of how great it was. So it's not something that's just an easy drag and drop. You got to really put some time and effort into it, especially with a system like the Nintendo DS that's so vastly different from what you'd see in a modern architecture or anything like what people are doing right now with how Nintendo is with the Switch. So they have to make sure that this emulation is done correctly. So I do think that they are going to take their time, but I think that it's very good that if they do have multiple different modes, because DS is hard to emulate that same experience. What you usually do is that you take of course, a small Nintendo DS and hold it up to your face. It's a very different experience than playing on a TV or playing on a bigger screen that wasn't built for 2 screens. So if they have multiple different options here, that would be great. Now, I will be honest here, guys, DS, while it's one of Nintendo's best selling systems and people love it, they grew up with it, I played it as well. I was already well into being an adult when the DS came out, and it's just not necessarily my favorite just because my hands are too big, the DS was too small, and it did get better with the bigger DSs, but a lot of the games required holding a stylus in one hand and all that, so I was never the biggest fan of the Nintendo DS, but I do admit there are a ton of great Nintendo first-party and third-party games on that platform. A lot of them have already been repurposed and put out, like for example the Castlevania Dominus collection, which has GBA and DS games. So for me, that's kind of like my preferred method of just getting it re-released and putting it out on a cartridge or putting it out as a download on the Nintendo Switch. But if they're going to do emulation and you can play it this way and it's part of NSO that you already get a part on your subscription service, then I have no problem with that, and I hope that they actually do it and add more value. I just hope that they don't increase the price as well. Just don't want that. It was really cool to see GameCube being added in and no price increase, so I hope that they keep it that way as well with this. So what do you guys think about DS potentially coming over via emulation or NSO on the Nintendo Switch 1 or Switch 2 or just the Switch 2? Who knows? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, we're going to discuss a game that's kind of going under the radar but might be kind of cool to pick up and play, and that is Full Metal Schoolgirl. I've covered this game at least one time before, and the game is due out October 23rd, so it is coming up as of the time that I'm recording this video, and we've got a brand new launch trailer. I am going to go over some of the key features in this game, and this is a day and date on Nintendo Switch 2 in addition to PlayStation 5 and PC as well. So key features: a story revenge against a giant exploitative enterprise. The enemy is the world's largest corporation, maternal jobs, the cyber corporate slaves known as the Working Dead, who relentlessly fight as a corporate warrior even to their death. Block your path. They will attack you in droves, relying on their numbers. Show no mercy, scrap them all. Close quarters combat in an ever-changing building. The battlefield is a 100-story skyscraper. The evil CEO awaits at the top floor. Each floor changes its structure every time you enter. And there is also a trap-like security system on the battlefield on each floor to reach the top. Live stream battles. Use the donations for upgrades. Use materials and rewards obtained from defeating enemies to upgrade and customize your machine girl. The equipment and enhancement programs obtained from the item box, as well as pre-deployment modifications, include over 100 basic elements. Utilize these to face the challenge over and over again, even if you feel powerless. Remember that you are not alone. The viewers of your live stream are cheering you on. As the number of viewers increases, so does the support help fund your upgrades with the donations that you receive. So this is a very interesting game, and I don't think this game is going to be a super highly rated title, or there's going to be a ton of people talking about it or playing it, but I do think that it kind of goes back to the raw essence of like the arcades, or the raw essence of just a game that's clearly just built for that. It's not trying to be a cinematic universe. It's not trying to be this epic masterpiece of cutscenes and massive open worlds. It's just a straight up game. It might be fun. It might have like this weird kind of niche audience that people will get into, and that's why I'm covering it, because it looks not necessarily like my super, oh my gosh, I'm going to play this game or try it out and I think it's going to be that game of the year, which I am going to try it out, but obviously it's not going to be a super highly rated game. But I think it's just cool to have something like this to play overall. Games like Hades, people like that. There's a lot of different rogue games like where you have to go and try things over and over, try out different combinations. So it's cool in that type of sense. So what do you guys think about the title? What do you guys think about everything that we discussed here? There was a lot, from Final Fantasy IX Remake to Dragon Ball as well. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.